Next is TQM Tools. Several kinds of tools that we can use when it comes to total quality management. Okay, here are the tools for generating ideas for solving a problem. If you have a problem, then you collect data with a check sheet and see how often a particular problem occurs. And you can use scatter diagram to understand the relationship between different variables. And you can use cause and effect diagram to understand what are the possible causes for a particular problem. And there are tools that organize the data. So you take the data collected in check sheet, and then you can do a Pareto chart, or you can draw a flow chart or process diagram chart. So these are tools to organize data. The tools for identifying problem is you can use histograms. From your stat class, you know what histogram is. And we have statistical process control charts that can be used for identifying problems. Okay. The 7 tools of TQM. So check sheet is organized method of recording data. So you have 3 different defects, and each hour you put a check mark as to which defect occurs, and then you count them all later on. So it's pretty straightforward. So this is a way of gathering data and identifying problems. Scatter diagram is when you have 2 different variables, and if you think that there is a relationship, for example absenteeism and productivity, then you see if absenteeism increases, productivity declines, and you find a relationship and try to use the relationship to improve productivity and you decrease absenteeism. Cause and effect diagram is you have a problem, okay, you have an effect. What are the causes of that particular effect? So that's what this cause and effect diagram tries to illustrate. And there are 4 M's that are illustrated as causes. The causes that are related to machinery or equipment, manpower is labor, materials is raw materials, parts, components, and so on, and methods is production process and procedures. There may be others, but these 4 M's are basic, and you organize all these different causes in this fashion, then that is called a cause and effect diagram. So what you would do is, if you have a problem, you would do a brainstorming session with all the people who are related to the problem, who have expertise in the area, then prepare a list of all the different causes, and then you group those causes into these 4 categories and chart them in this fashion. This kind of chart is also called fishbone diagram because of the resemblance to fishbone. Pareto diagram is a histogram and a cumulative chart. There is a particular way you have to draw the histogram. So the most frequent, the tallest bar first, and then the next tallest, and so on. So there is frequency, and then the frequency expressed as a percentage is plotted in a second y-axis in this fashion. And this way you can focus on the most important defect first, and then the next, and then the next, and so on. So it allows you to prioritize your activities. And the cumulative line tells us how many problems you need to address or solve to achieve a certain level of completing the problem. So you want to achieve 90% of the problems to be solved, then you look at 90% point in the chart, in the line, and then you see what are the different problems that you have to attack to achieve that 90% satisfaction. So flowchart is another tool where you have process steps given as rectangles and decision steps given as diamonds. Histogram, okay, we all know what histogram is. So you have repair time and you plot the histogram, and this one looks like normal distribution, but it need not be normal distribution, it can be any other distribution. Then statistical process control is to look at the production process value and chart them over time. So we'll be spending a lot of our time in the supplement to this chapter on statistical process control. Now here are some examples, cause and effect diagrams. So you have missed free throws, and what are the material, method, machine, and manpower, and then look at the different causes. Okay. We'll work out an example later. Pareto chart. So we have room service in a hotel. Okay, number of complaints, room SVC, check-in problems, pool hours, mini bar, and miscellaneous. So you see the complaints that the management has received from guests. Okay, and cumulative chart. Okay, here is the flow chart for an MRI visit by patients. Okay, what are the different steps and decision point? Statistical process control. Again, there are 4 different process control charts. We will discuss that in the next supplement. So here is an example of the control chart.